everyone, it is Ed Gutowski. I wanted to welcome you to our English 1B class. You guys are in for a treat. What I wanted to do was just kind of create a brief welcome email, let you know about the class, and talk about the textbooks that are going to be used for our class. Our class is going to be loads of fun. Students really like the books that we're going to read. So an English 1B class is an introduction to literature class. So we get to look at things like some short stories, some poetry, and some drama. And we'll really kind of get rolling into things around week 2. Week 1 is going to be really easy, where you're basically going to look at some poems that are going to be the foundation of class, kind of analyze them in a discussion board question, and there's a short essay you're going to write. And then there's also, you're going to send me a welcome email to make sure you don't get dropped for class. English 1B is a class, it's a lot of fun. I've taught this class both online and on ground, and the books I'm particularly using, students have loved. So let me just kind of introduce you to the books that we're going to use for class. The first book that we're going to look back is called The Backpacker's Guide to Literature. And this book, has all the short stories, the poetry that we'll kind of look at. Again, students really liked the book. It's cheap and it's affordable. We'll start looking at some of those short stories in week 2. The first book we're going to look at is a book called Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. And I've used this book quite often. It's a great novel to look at how literature can have an impact on the individual, because the main character does something that's kind of rather foolish, right? He sells all of his possessions, cuts off contact from his parents, and kind of disappears in the wild, and no one knows what happened to him. And Jon Krakauer, as the author, is kind of looking for what reasons would motivate this kid to go on an epic journey into Alaska. And there's a big suggestion that he was influenced by many of the great authors. So it's been a really fun book to use. Students are really engaged by it. It'll allow us to look at terms like naturalism and realism. And it's a fun and quick and easy read. Now for this class, we are also going to look at a novel that deals with the Holocaust. So we are going to look at Maus. And so we'll start to look at some Holocaust literature. We'll do a section on Holocaust literature. I started using Maus last semester, and it had a really profound impact on students. They really enjoyed kind of being exposed to how you define Holocaust literature and examining issues of the Holocaust itself. Now, it is a graphic novel, so we can raise some questions about, is using a comic book in a college level class appropriate? But I found last semester the graphic novel to be very powerful. Students were very engaged. And that's a great novel. The last book we're going to look at is a novel that's called The Hate U Give. And again, this is a novel that we'll look at some issues of race and racism in America. I wanted to stop using this novel for whatever reason, but the impact that this novel's had on my class and students has been really powerful. Students really, really like the novel. And it's a great way for us to look at how other great significant African-American writers have contributed to literature, whether it's W.E. Du Bois, whether it's Langston Hughes, whether it's Toni Morrison. And then we are going to read one play. We're going to read William Shakespeare's Henry V. And Henry V is nothing short but epic. It's a great play. And I realize that, reading Shakespeare can be challenging for students. Reading Shakespeare online for an online class can be challenging. But I've done enough that students were able really to read the play, connect to the ideas. I was really able to help them, guide them through the play. It's a great play because it deals with war, it deals with rhetoric, and it deals with a young, inexperienced king who decides to go off and go to war. So there are some great themes that we can look at as well. So these are the novels that we're going to look at class. So one of the things to know about our class is how I'm setting up our class for the most part. I'm going to set up some of the reading quizzes on the short stories that will be due on Wednesday. And then everything in our class will be due Friday by midnight. And what I'm basically doing is kind of really trying to allow students to have a full week to read over and look at the material. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm really excited about our class. And again, like I said, week 1's going to be pretty easy. All you have to do is send me a welcome email. There's a discussion board on 10 poems that are the foundation of our class, and then there's a short essay to write. So I really look forward to looking at your ideas.